we are going to paint these bookshelves a faux wood grain. Now, I'm very excited about this. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time, but I'm also very nervous because these are Pottery Barn. And it feels illegal to DIY Pottery Barn stuff because it's so good. I mean, it's really good. So these were given to me as a hand-me-down by my Aunt Teresa. You might remember Aunt Teresa. She built us that huge bookshelf wall in the living room. Completely DIY, completely by herself in her 70s. She's crazy. Not to be confused with my Mother Teresa, and not to be confused with Mother Teresa. You also might recognize these shelves because this is what we used as my son's closet in my old house. That room did not have a closet, so we used these. Thank you, Aunt Teresa. Now we're in our new home. These are in our den, and I just keep trying to find ways to warm up this space without having to paint these 20-foot-high walls. So I think a great way to do that, I love wood, is to paint this to make it look like wood. I've done this a couple times. If you've been following me, you might have seen that I did this on the front door at our old house, the banister at our old house. I did it on our kitchen table, and I did it on our hutch. The hutch was probably the biggest project I've ever done. So I've done it a couple times, and I love doing it. So here are the supplies we're gonna use. One, you are gonna need a roller. If you are working with something that's a much lighter color than what you desire the finished project to look like, we really want that base coat to be on nice and thick, no streaks, no white coming through. You need a cheap wire brush. Then you need 2 different paint colors. Once again, I am using all leftover paints that I have from other projects, including Prairie Dust by Glidden, which this is now the 3rd project I'm using it on, I can't get rid of it, and Derby Brown by Glidden. It's actually left over from a project that my mom did. Lastly, prep work is essential when you're doing projects like this. We are going to sand it down a little bit. I will link everything down in the description that I use. I do make commissions off all of those links, so if you find this video helpful and you want to use those products, please buy from my links to help me out. That is it for the introduction, and I'll see you guys when we start work. Okay, I have moved everything out. I've moved the furniture out, and now I'm going to sand it. I'm going to start with an 80 grit just to really rough it up, and then I'm going to go over with a, forgot what this was, 320 grit just to smooth it all out. You can use what you have on hand. This is what I had on hand. You want to start with that low number first, and then go to the high number. 80 grit, and that's my hand. Nice and dirty. A lot of stuff is off there. You can use an electric sander if you want. I didn't feel like getting it out, so there's that. I'm gonna go to the other bookshelf, and I'll be right back. Now, you have to clean all that dust off. So look at the type of furniture you have, see what type of cleaner you should use. I didn't do that, but I recommend that you do. I'm just using a multi-purpose cleaner and a rag. Don't forget the bottom of the shelf. Okay, so like real quick, this was the wood grain tool and I've used it a lot, and I don't know, you just don't need it for this project. But if you were interested and you want to find it, here it is. I'll link one in the bio. This one is from Refinishing Liquid Wood. Great products, and this worked really well with their products. So they have this size, and they also have this smaller one. So if you want to give that a go, go for it. Like I said, I just don't think it's needed for this project. Don't tell me you think you don't need to. You need to prep, okay? You need to tape the areas and tarp the areas. This is one area where I will not say, get the cheap tape. No, get the expensive tape. It'll save you in the long run. All right, so for the first layer, like I said a million times, we're doing Prairie Dust by Glidden. I am cutting in first. You absolutely can do your roller and then say, I'll just do the edges on the end. Personally, I just like to get all the tedious work done first. So I'm going to do the cutting in for both bookshelves and then do the rollers. That way you end up on the easy note. This is it. There's no turning back now. The doors. With doors, they always say you want to do the inside panels first. I don't know why they say that, but they do. So I'm doing it. I did not tape the hardware yet, so I'm not going any further. Forgot about that.
I've done a few projects like these, and ultimately I just always prefer to not paint the inside because I think it's fun when you open it and see what the color used to be. Did that on my hutch. I did that on the bookshelf project that we did. So that's just personal preference. Up here it is sticking out a little bit, so I am going to hit that just a little bit so that the white isn't going to be coming through the brown so much. And then I'll look when we're painted, see where else I have to touch up. But for the most part, I don't paint the inside. You don't have to. I still can't believe I'm doing this right now. Crazy. I'm absolutely getting paint on the floor back here, but you can't see it. Shh. Don't tell anyone. Now, I could have moved this out more. I mean, it's actually really kind of hard, but I chose not to, so we're just going for it back here. I mean, I like her. Just a reminder. But she looks very Floridian to me. And we're nowhere near done, but like, I don't know. I'm pretty content. I don't know if you can really see in this lighting, honestly, which is weird because it's perfectly daylight out. But there she is. Okay, we're done with that one. We're gonna go to that one. See you when I'm done. Okay, both shelves are completely cut in. I did forget that I have to go get my heat gun or a hair dryer and where's my hand? Remove those child's. This is hard backwards. I don't know how weathermen do that. There we go. Okay, I have to remove those childproof locks and the hook things that I used to hang the tension rods when it was my son's closet. So I'm going to get my kids up from that. Then I'm going to remove all the stuff that I need to with heat, and then I'll do the base layer. So see you then. Let's get rolling. My brother's Tonka trucks used to say when we were kids. Let's get rolling. Using this little roller. I love this little roller. So, unpopular, maybe popular opinion, I'm not painting the top. I have no use for that. No one can see it, and no matter what I do, it's just gonna chip, and it's gonna be annoying. So, like, there's no need. No one can see it. It'd just be a waste of time and a waste of paint. So if I'm really desperate to get rid of all this paint, then, like, maybe I'll do it just for that reason alone, but no, not happening. This is a pretty cheap roller, as you can probably tell. It's also really cheap paint, so it chips up very quickly and very easily, so you really want to make sure you let it dry before you put anything else on top of it. Glidden paint is great for how cheap it is, but it does chip really easily if you don't let it dry. So, perfect for a base coat like this, but just make sure it's completely dry before putting on your second coat.
This is for sure a trust the process moment. I thought this was going to be much darker, because it is much darker on my brother's walls. We're going to keep going, because we have no choice. Hello. I lied to you. You absolutely need the wood grain tool for this project. I mean, you don't need it, but this paint was so much darker on the walls, so it's much lighter than I had anticipated, which means it's just all not working well. And when I was doing the wood grain with like the really cheap brush, it just was looking like a really patchy paint job. Okay, good morning. We're on day 2. It did dry a little bit darker, which is what I wanted. But in order to get the wood grain to really stick out, I need to make the paint a little bit darker. I'll show you. You can't really see it too much. So I am going to add some dye to it. According to Google, you can add synthetic fiber dye or just acrylic paint. The dye should make it a little more watery, so just you gotta figure out if that's what you want, but it'll still work as long as they're both water-based, which they both are, so you can't mix oil and water. Oh my gosh, I got paint myself already. So I did the prairie dust, then I did the derby brown, and now I'm gonna do my darker derby brown mixture to do the wood grain tool, so stay tuned.
Just a reminder, that's what we started with. It doesn't look that much of a difference, but it is, 'cause that's what we started with. So let's move right along. I'm gonna do it on the side first, just to show you how to do this best. All right, you just dip it, dip your color, and you're just gonna go down and up. All right, so we got all the wood grain done up here, so now I'm gonna go down here. What I love most about this project is that you can maneuver the wood grain however you want. So if you don't like the way that it looks right now, while the paint is still wet, just hit it with that wire brush again and just re-drag the wood grain tool until you get your desired effect. Works perfectly every time. Okay, I just did a coat of Mod Podge because I was not waiting for polyacrylic to dry. But here they are. Hey, here they are. Okay, let me tell you, the adhesive that was on these things, strongest adhesive I've ever seen in my life. We hit it with a heat gun. We scraped, we couldn't, that was the best we could do. But from afar, you can't tell. But the lighting on the camera, you could tell it's there. Same thing with these ones, which was super weird because these were from Shein. We couldn't get them off. So I just painted over them. Oh man, I missed a spot. I just painted over them, but you could barely tell. I mean, I'm gonna have stuff in there, so it's fine. But same thing over here. You can see a little bit here and there. We did the best we could. I think I did a little bit better hiding, maybe a little bit worse, but whatever. I know what goes on these shelves. I know they're going to be largely hidden, but I'm a fan. I was really nervous with the base coat, and then I was really, with the prairie dust, and then I was really nervous with just the derby brown. But once I darkened the derby brown and took out my wood grain tool, which I told you guys you didn't need, I was wrong. It really made a difference. And I feel like from this angle, you could see why I wanted to do it so much better. I like the browns pulling from the fireplace and the mantle and all that stuff. Like I said in the beginning, the very beginning of this video, I said I just wanted to make this space feel warmer without having to paint all the way up there. So from this angle, with this light coming in, you could totally see it. Lastly, I am just going to go over all of the hardware with antique gold rub and buff. I think it makes a huge difference. I've used it on a zillion projects, and I feel like this is just a perfect project to use it on. And I was right. I think it looks so much better than the brushed nickel in this space. So let me show you what it looks like decorated. If you liked this video and you found it helpful, even in the tiniest of ways, please like, comment, share this video, and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. I've been posting a lot on TikTok and Instagram and doing well in those fields, but I'd really like to do these longer form tutorials more often on YouTube. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we are done! Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This did take me several hours over the course of 2 days, but that's mainly because I have 3 young kids, so times in which I could do stuff for myself is pretty limited. But overall, I would say this is a cheap and easy DIY. You just have to devote the time to it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you stay tuned and come back for more.